check in with that TNT channel. A lot of things going on early in the morning. DTItrader.com/YouTube to follow along. Welcome into our YouTube guest. Let's go ahead and hit the disclaimer here because I want to get that done. We are going to do a lot of talking about markets this morning. So let's see. The disclaimer, there is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. DTI Trader and all individuals affiliated with the site assume no responsibility for your trading and investment results. Keep in mind, you and you alone will be responsible for every decision made and not made when it comes to trading. So do your due diligence and practice a little bit of risk management. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. A couple of key things to bear in mind. Number one, what's the news? Well, it's still what's going on in Iran. The closing the Straits of Hormuz, excuse me, and that's definitely spiked up the crude oil prices. Tom mentioned crude this morning in the TNT room. Broadening of the conflict, and there's some concerns there. So that's what you've got going on. Some of the key levels to pay attention to in the S&P futures, the fourth quarter open at 67.2550 and the fourth quarter low at 65.25 become important levels. We actually dipped below that 67.2550 earlier this morning. So keep an eye on that. The September 2025 low, if you're looking for something beyond that, was 63.7175. Economic news this week, we've got ADP tomorrow, employment situation reports on Friday, as well as retail sales. So a lot of employment labor is going to be one of the main focuses this week. Next week, we'll get into, I believe, inflation. That's going to be the key concept for that next week. And let's go ahead and get straight to this. Let's pop over to the in my opinion part because, Tom, I'm really looking forward to your opinion here. This has been a pretty drastic move out of the market. It's not all that surprising. I know you were on top of it last night and this morning. So what do you see in the market right now?
Well, let's start out something a little positive. How many people had the pocket puts? I took profit on mine. That was about a 40% gain this morning on the pocket puts. I think that go back. I want to stay with it. In my opinion, let's just don't rush. Take our time, okay, Chuck? Yeah, it's something I'm going to put back on today. Okay, and yeah, we took profit on there, Sean. Jonathan, how did we let people know on the pocket puts in TNT?
Yeah, the trade was issued to TNT and Live Trading and T-Buzz. So we posted that in the Telegram channel.
Yeah, and that's one thing you got to be careful of, folks. Make sure that if you take one of our trades that you know that we do follow those, okay? And anyway, I looked at it, I did the math on it, I said, I can always put him back on this afternoon. So that's exactly what I did. But yeah, I think I made 40% plus on mine. And I'm going to reestablish some for later on today. So we'll do that probably this afternoon in live trading is what I'm thinking. Okay, Jonathan? That's what I'm thinking right now.
That sounds good. And I know that those trades were issued to TNT and Live Trading. They were issued during a live session open to everyone, and you set a target at 74 to 79 cents. And we got out at 75 and 81. So
yeah,
if you weren't in the programs, if you weren't in the my point is, if you were not in the programs, the trade worked out perfectly. It hit targets that were set initially. So great trade, Tom. Enjoyed those pocket puts.
Yeah, tell Sean, answer Sean. Sean, are you in TNT? Yeah, see, Anchor in one ticket doesn't have it, Sean, but I did give a price at the time to get out at 74.8. I'd go in and get out of those, and you probably ought to join TNT if you're going to take those type trades. That's pretty short term, high risk that I really monitor close. But The pocket puts is a concept I came up with years ago. Yeah, we'll do the pocket. We'll share them with you, Leon. Absolutely. Great question. But Sean, make sure you get TNT. It's a $200 a month deal. It'll be well worth it for you. Okay, to follow along if you're going to take those trades. If you're not, you don't probably need to be there or listen very closely because I always give a target. All right, so in my opinion, that was the highlight for me today so far. I also tell people this a lot. I told you that I think gold will be the winner out of this deal, whether the market goes down or up. If you think about it, I also told you that typically when you see a drastic change in the market, what I call a drastic change, I call it drastic change when you get over 1.5%, 2% in a short period of time. We've got that situation. You got the VIX. I pointed out it. I said if the VIX got above 22, that's a sell signal. And so that's a drastic change. But here's the way they do it. And this is why I've always said that that overnight risk is the biggest risk you have. And I believe that. And it's been something that I've dealt with my whole career. But I posted this morning in TNT. For over 40 years of trading, I've highlighted overnight risk. Last night, a classic Grim Reaper. I call when you go to bed at one time and the market's one way, and you wake up after a night of sleep and the market has a drastic movement, that's the Grim Reaper. They're going to take your money. Nothing you can do about it. That's the danger of overnight trading that you do. And I always highlight that. But when the ES dropped below Monday's low, and I said then, that's why I have pocket puts to give us relief in the market chaos. Now we'll see. Because at that time, the pocket puts were closed, and you don't know if this is a day to take profits on it. But like I said, I took those profits. I'll reset them today. Okay, and that's the great thing about it. So if you made the pocket puts, you saw it work for you in a situation like this. Isn't it nice to go find some positive money on a day like this? I'm just saying, made my day. Anyway, 47% return on those pocket puts. So I'll do some more. We'll reset them today. But during this time period, I will use the pocket puts as a way to handle some of that overnight risk that we take. Now, again, if you go back to last week, you got to admit, if you listen, you don't have a lot of big exposure out there with me right now. Okay. Way to go, Peg. You made my point. Peg made $900, and I think she found a home here at DTI. So way to go, Peg. But the point I'm trying to make is that last week, my exact words were cash is the best, but I will have some gold and silver stocks, knowing full well that I'd probably suffer some short-term pain. And I did this morning watching some of these fall. But you'll see those stocks start going up. And I got a couple more that will probably go up during this stage we'll talk about. But generally speaking, this is a market that will rip your heart out as a trader unless you take appropriate steps. Very volatile, very excitable, and you got to trade a lot smaller than normal. Okay? Carol says she took my advice, went flat with her portfolio last week. Carol, so proud of you doing that. Okay? Yeah, the VIX is still very bearish. We're going to talk about everything when we get going. Okay? So there's that. That's a nice post. Now, I want you to watch something. Some people just started being gurus. Some people have been around a little bit. I've been doing this a long time, but this interview here, Jonathan's about to show, takes you back in time. The time setup was with, I was doing an interview in Toronto years ago, and they invited me down there. The co-host of this, has anybody ever heard of Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary, the guy that's on, I guess, Shark Tank. Very nice guy. Anybody ever heard of him? Yeah. Okay. Well, he was part of the team that interviewed me. However, he did not interview me. Amanda did, and I think she ended up getting a promotion after this and went on to a big career in broadcasting. But let's just take a listen to show you how I think. I haven't changed my thinking in all these years. Listen up.
Well, you're forgiven if you're feeling a little pessimistic about your portfolio lately. Tom Busby, CEO of DTITrader.com, is optimistic about your chances of making money, though. He's here to give us a little insight on how he does it. Good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Let's start with what your sentiment on the market. You saw this decline coming. You were bearish on the markets.
Absolutely, right on top of it. We've been short since the very first day of the year. And if you look at where the market is right now, you're down about 17%. So that's a pretty good run for such a short period of time. The question is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Or should we stay out?
You shorted on Sunday a bunch of indices, including S&P, DAX. You look really smart. On Monday, you must have felt like a genius.
I did. And but you only feel that way for a few days, and then all of a sudden you get your humble pie or whatever. But a lot of people don't know that you can get into the market on Sundays, and they need to learn and educate themselves. And it's quite an advantage to get ahead of the crowd.
How do you short? I mean, you're a member of the Merc, so
right.
It's a little easier for you than for some of us. But can an ordinary person make a bet like that against the S&P? What's the strategy?
Absolutely. It opens at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. They can go to CME.com and find out about it. Most knowledgeable investors and traders know they can get into the market on Sunday. And Monday, the U.S. market was trading in the futures market, and most people thought it was closed.
Yeah.
Sort of like, tell everybody it's closed, but we'll trade it anyway.
So you can play, and is that a good time to make bets like that when the volume is later?
You'll hear most people say, well, the volume's light. There's not a lot of, a lot of ways to put a lot of size on. Untrue. The Globex market, the Eurex market are two great markets to trade and learn about. And that's what I would say. If anybody was listening to this, they'd say, well, what can I do and how can I learn that? They need to go get on the computer, Google it, and figure it out.
Figure out how to. Now, obviously, when you're short something, you got infinite potential to lose money, unlike going long, where you know what your loss is. How do you protect yourself from the downside?
Always use a stop. So even though you might think you're right, at least the market will tell you if you're wrong.
Yeah, and you use a stop even because when you see markets like we saw, futures markets, for instance, on Monday. Did your stop keep you from making as much money as you might have made?
No, because I placed it where it needed to be placed, and it was a very good trending market.
Yeah.
I mean, really, quite honestly, if you had been a basic trader, it would have been hard to figure out that you didn't want to be short as you were watching it fall.
Tom, we saw the markets today, possibly on some news about the financial system, trade 500 points from the bottom, from the low to the close here in the U.S. In an environment like that, do you play in that, or is that just too risky?
Well, I'll do it at certain times. Now, today's particular move is good for me because overall I'm thinking the market might come back down, but I won't get short the market thinking it. The market's got to tell me it's coming back down. So if the market keeps going up, if it gets higher than 1480 on the S&P, next time you talk to me, I'll tell you about me being long.
So you will play both sides?
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of horizon are you giving this? When do you know?
Okay, let me teach you something real quick. It's real one test, okay? If you're making money at the end of the day, hold on to it. If you're losing money at the end of the day, get out of it.
Every day?
Every day.
So you don't, I mean, I guess if it's short, you really can't, but you wouldn't sit on a position for a week even.
Well, my definition of diversification, if I look at something in my portfolio and I'm making money, I keep it. If I'm losing money, I get rid of it. Just keep it simple.
That sounds pretty simple. Let's talk Apple. You shorted Apple. What was your inclination there? Because this has been a bit of a star stock.
Oh, it's been my favorite stock. I was long it all in 2007. Got out the last day of the year at 190 something. And so what happened? I've been watching it because this one stock I'd like to be long. Well, I was watching the stock, earnings were coming out, and I thought, well, why would the Fed at 7:20 in the morning react? The biggest economic news, the biggest earnings news coming out today is Apple, the star stock of 2007. So I started reasoning, then I started watching Apple trade, and I said, it looks weak. And so I bought some puts, which is a limited way to short it.
Yep.
And then I was rewarded very nicely.
Are you saying that you thought the FOMC knew what Apple's numbers were going to be at 7 a.m.?
I think there's some pretty smart people that run the that run the Fed, and I think that they're smart enough to know that Apple could have turned the market by itself if the earnings were good.
Yeah.
Now, whether they're not, they knew they were going to be good or not, I can just tell you the stock said they were not going to be good.
It's still negative today,
Right.
even in this market that's rebounding like anything. How long do you stay negative on Apple?
As long as it's below 155,
And
because
then-
that's where it was the
Yeah.
day the earnings came out.
And
Simple.
then if it comes back to there, you'll go long again?
No, I'll get out of the puts. Now, if the S&P happened to go above 1480, which is like a long shot from here,
Yeah.
in the near term, then I would consider being long Apple.
Now, one issue with options, of course, in a market like this is when there's this much volatility, of course, the options themselves, the pricing can get a little out of whack. Could ordinary people who don't really understand that get really burned at a time like this?
Yeah, and it's simple. A lot of people try to overcomplicate it. If you think the market's going up, you want to buy call options. If you think the market's going down, you want to buy put options like I did with Apple.
Yeah.
And the thing you want to do is be about 60 days out, which cuts out the time value issue of it declining only where you hold it. And just, use some common sense. Don't overload your boat.
And how long, when do you feel positive about these markets?
I'm positive every day about the markets. I'm very optimistic about the market. Matter of fact, the
your
market...
watch costs more than my car, so I don't see any reason not to believe you. But when you're positive, negative, it doesn't matter what the market's going to do. You're happy.
Yeah, because, see, what you do is you learn how to read the tape, and you hear a lot about that, but it's a dance, and you learn what the dance is. Today, you wouldn't be short between 2:30 and 3 because you'd just be handing in your money because the market's just rising higher.
It's great to have you with us.
Common sense.
Tom Busby, CEO of DTITrader.com.
Yeah, I did that interview years ago. What'd you think of it? Pretty good, isn't it? Loved it. Okay, I gotta loved it. Yeah, it reminds me that you got to be consistent and you got to be, you just can't lock in. You got to really, really look at these numbers. And, I might think one thing, but the numbers are going to guide what I do with my mouse or what I do with thinking. The days of begging for things to pop back up or whatever are over for me. I'll pitch something if I'm not making money about as quick as I would say hello, because I think that a big mistake I made early on in my career was I'd hold on to things too long. Does everybody know I use a 72-hour rule on everything that you do? 72-hour on options. Everybody know that? Because that to me saves you from making a lot of mistakes. Now, if you're doing a trade that expires the next day, you don't have 72 hours. But it's a rule that will help you with options, is what I'm saying. Okay? And anyway, yeah, Amanda went on to be a big star over at, I can't think of the network, maybe Philbin or somebody from Canada can tell me. But B&N is not small, but she was, but anyway, Kevin, going back to Kevin, we got so furious at me and Amanda having that interview because he didn't get to participate in it and all that. And she invited me to come be a guest host, but that never happened. I guess he kicked that idea out. But anyway, that was years ago. Anyway, all right, so let's keep going. We got a lot to talk about, and I want to be patient and make sure everybody gets what they need to out of this meeting. All right. Welcome to Train and Trade. All trades that we do in here are tracked through my world-renowned TNT, T-Buzz Talk and Trade. You can join me at dtitrader.com/TNT. I give updates around the clock. That's the one thing I like about it. It's on me to find opportunities to tell you about, and I do. Okay. In fact, this morning in early TNT, I told people to buy SQQQ. And if you go look at SQQ today, it topped out today at 76. There's an example. Okay. All right. SQQQ. Y'all remember the days of SQQQ back in 2022 when we started trading it together. Here's the resources we have. Jonathan, you probably ought to put that interview on here. I think it deserves a spot on more resources because it tells people so much how to think about the market and what I've learned. Pretty much we'll add that, obviously. Okay. My idea of circling the wagons remains my theme of the market. And, you know, I won't always be this way, but I'm always this way when I know how chaotic it can be. My goal is to get out of this thing and then take advantage of what happens after we get out of it. That's my goal. And I think that you will find that we're very good at hitting our goals by being very cautious and recognize that it's very volatile also. We'll only take targeted trades and only try to do those targeted trades if possible. We'll try to do those targeted trades each and, how we're doing, if that makes any sense, okay? I hope I'm saying that correctly, all right? Any question about what a targeted trade is? Everybody understands what I mean. We're very limited exposure during this time period. Yeah, I see the market. I have the roadmap. That's the beautiful thing about the roadmap. And that's exactly, what I'm looking to do and how I'm doing things. So anyway, that's the story, so to speak. That's the story. Yeah, give me a second here. I gotta do something here, make an adjustment. All right. Remember yesterday I told you that crude oil breaking 75 was a sell signal because that has more repercussions just for crude oil if you get above 75. That's a superior change in the nature, and that does affect the economy when you get above that level. And I think that's just something that happened. When it happened, we haven't come back below it, and so you got to give it the benefit of the doubt when those events occur, if that makes any sense, what I'm saying there. So we got to get it. It's got to top out, reverse, and then we got to get some reason to sink our teeth in it. But crude oil, and that makes USO, by the way, the number on USO today is 94.11. 94.11. If USO gets above 94.11, then you got to pay attention. Okay. Everybody got that? 94.11. Now, VIX above 22 means fear is rampant, and VIX right now is at 23.35. Okay, the market's rallied, but that really, as long as that VIX and crude are staying where they are, you got to be very careful in this rally. Does everybody understand when you have a short market? Okay, and you think about that. In a short market, it goes down a lot faster, right? Market falls a lot faster in a short market. Well, it comes back and has these tremendous rallies. They go from 67, the low that we had on the S&P went from a low of 67.18. We're at 67.82 right now. But let me ask you a question. Am I above the daily pivot I gave you today? That should help you frame what I think about the rallies and the buys and the sells, okay? So as long as until we get above that 68.25 area, I'm not going to engage in the long side of the market. Now, I'll adjust that every day, but anyway, that's just something to keep in mind, those that are new. Anytime you see, I'll be looking for plays, targeted plays in different tickers that will pay me. Okay. And I think that's something you just got to keep out there if you can. Okay. First thing I posted this morning is my Magic 5 pocket puts in play. I said the pivot 68.25, oil above 75.23, VX above Monday's high. That's bearish. This is a bearish catalyst. Now, I told you how it happened while we were sleeping. That's when it happens, right? Overnight risk. And this is a bearish catalyst. That's what happened, okay? Let's review the current Seven Sisters and the current FTD high and low. Jonathan, take it away.
Yeah, I've got snapshots on the slides. I did this about, I don't know, maybe an hour ago, maybe a half hour ago, right before we went live. So probably realistically 45 minutes ago.
Okay.
The 3-day high for the S&P happened yesterday up at 69.11. And the 3-day low happened today about a half hour after RB3. So about an hour into the cash market today, down at 67.19. That's the S&P futures. Of course, we still have one more day to go, but that's the current 3-day high and 3-day low to start the month of March. Here's the NASDAQ. Similar story. The high made yesterday up at 25,101 and a low down at 24,353. Now, interestingly, Tom, the S&P made a new low for the year this morning. The NASDAQ did not. That other low over there during the early February, I'll tell you what that low is. That'd be this one, right?
Write this down, folks. This is important.
And that low is 24,239. 24,239.
24,239, about 200 points or so, right? From where we are.
Yeah, 200 or 300 points. Yeah. 24,239.
That's the number, folks.
We got the Dow. Dow clearly made a new low on the year. But the 3-day high from yesterday was 49,121, 49,121. And the 3-day low is now 47,683. 47,683.
And what about another 200 or so points on it, right?
Right. Now, a lot of people will look at the first quarter Dow and compare it to the December low. So if you're curious about that, the December low on the Dow futures was down at 47,269. So still a lot of room down to the December low, 47,269. Now here's crude oil time high made today, 77.98. And the low from yesterday is 69.20.
And the current price of crude, let's just look at it real quick. Current price of crude, 76.61 roughly. So it's pulled back quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, right. As crude has pulled back, the market has gone higher. When I say market, obviously.
So what will the talking heads be talking about? Maybe we'd say that are really pulling against the economy. They're going to be talking about how inflation is going to take off. Okay, that's what they're going to talk about. Okay, they're going to talk about how the economy is not it's not going to be good. All this stuff. I want you to remember one thing. Forget all that noise. Remember to follow. Every conflict going back to 1941, as we showed you yesterday, has ended up higher in December. Keep that in the back of your mind. And I'll help you navigate when the waters are calm. That's what my job is, to figure that out. I will tell you, since I've been doing this a long time, I've caught just about every time when those waters, knocking on wood, but I'll be there. I'll watch the tape. I'll let you know when the winds are calm. That's what we're shooting for. There's a rainbow on the other side of this storm.
Here's gold, 3-day high up at 54.35. Dropped all the way down to 5,005 today. That's the current 3-day high and low on gold futures.
All right, so what's the midpoint of gold? 50, what is it? 52.20?
Yeah.
52.20. So the market is trading south of the midpoint, but it's made quite a recovery from the low. Those midpoints on the 2 days are very important this stage of the 3-day algo. I use it. 52.20. I write that number down. That's why I asked it. 52.20. Look at silver.
20. And that little red bar high right there, Tom, is 52.69, if you're curious.
I am curious. 52.69. I love this train of trade to be able to take time, stop the action, do some thinking. All right, keep going.
Now here's silver. 3-day high 97.30. 3-day low 78.06.
97.30, 70, what is it? 78.06.
78.06, yeah.
Almost 20 points. Let's call it 19. What about 86, 87?
Yeah,
estimate it.
87.5 is
87.5 is the mid.
Yeah. Right.
The silver's taking a bigger hit than gold during this time period. Okay.
And bonds, 119.06 is the 3-day high so far, 116.17 is the 3-day low.
Yeah, bonds, I think, maybe it's because of crude oil and the inflation worries. I really expected bonds to do better during the sell-off, but maybe because of yesterday being so bullish and the day being so bearish, I hadn't checked bonds, see how they're holding up today. Yeah, they're still down, but they're up a little bit off those lows. So anyway, I would expect bonds would be one of the first signs once it goes above that midpoint. Let's figure that midpoint. 19 to 16, let's call that 3, 1.5. I'd say about 118. Get started getting above about 118. That's probably going to tell you that that recovery is intact. That number is 118.
$118 bonds.
Yep.
There's the SPY.
688 to 669. Okay, 670s, 18, 19. Boy, we've got 19 points a lot, don't we? 18 and a half. I just do it in my head, but 79, what about 87? Something like that. Fine. What do you got? No, I did the math wrong.
688.62. I'll just get a calculator out, make it easy on us.
Yeah, do a calculator, make it easy on us.
Plus 669.70. Divide those by 2. 679.16. 679.
All right, and the current SPY, just even though the market's rallied back, I want to put things in perspective. The current SPY, if you just look at it right now, is at 676. So we're about 3 points away from its midpoint, 679. And we're just taking the 2-day high, 2-day low on these key indexes.
And here's QQQ.
This is the one you got to watch.
601 is the midpoint. Call it 601.
601, and today's opening, I got to tell you, today's opening, this is very interesting. Today's opening on the QQQ, I follow it every day, was 596.33. It's now 598.50. 598. They're trying to put a reversal on this market right now. Now we'll get some more information after Genesis, but that's pretty important that they got it right here, so we got to watch it. That probably tells me that we might have seen the lows and they're going to try to get higher. Now the S&P is up here, but I would watch the QQQ. That's number I'd give you is 598.55. It's where the upside, it gets easier to go higher. Okay. On the QQQ. And that's probably, I was looking at NVIDIA, but we'll come back to that. But anyway, that's the QQQ. So right now, if you look at the daily, we got a daily bar, but we're approaching some relief. That's good. Okay.
Okay, Tom, I'm getting this updated right now. Our spreadsheet, I just updated it. What time is it? 11:42.
So you got the numbers updated?
Updated, yep. Update. And then whether this works, if you're just joining us today, we want to mark the highest high and the lowest low from the first 3 days of March. Of course, this is trade day 2. So what you see the spreadsheet as now will change a little bit after tomorrow's finished. But for now, I've got day 1, day 2, and day 3 columns there. Once the 3 days is done, I'll drag over these. These 2 columns over here right now are set to grab automatically the highest high and lowest low as we post them. There's your midpoint from the whatever the high and low is for the 3 days are. And these over here, you need to not worry about those. All right, those are not in use right now until the 3 days is done. So there you have it. What you want to do is you want to compare the current price to these numbers right here and say, are we closer to the highest high, or are we closer to the lowest low? So Kendra, this is the original spreadsheet. It just looks a little different than you normally see it because we're stuck inside the first 3 days right now. Once the 3 days are done, I'll reorganize it so it looks familiar to what we were looking at last month. But the spreadsheet link does not change. So be sure to save it to your browser. I just posted the spreadsheet link into the Zoom chat. You can click the Zoom chat link and it should open up on your computer. And then click the star at the top right of the browser window to bookmark the spreadsheet, which on the Zoom screen there, I've just indicated where that is. Now, as we get some more clarity that comes into the market, we might take some stocks off. We might add some stocks as the month goes along, but it's a long list of tickers so far. And again, right now, this is kind of a waiting period. We're just letting the market play out during the first 3 days as we always do for the bigger picture analysis. As Tom said, it's all about short-term focus, targeted plays. This is for your benefit as far as viewing the market from a bigger picture month to month basis. So Tom, we've been going, wow, 45 minutes in. We need to move on, don't we?
Yeah, but I think it's important, Jonathan, with this kind of market that we spend this extra time and let's just keep going. Yeah, add ticker USO to it when he's got a good idea there.
Will do. I'm surprised USO is not on there. I'm adding it right now.
Thanks, Wendy. Good observation. Detailed. I like that when you got somebody that sees that kind of stuff. All right. So, if the market does turn back down, okay, then, probably the easiest thing to trade is SPY QQQ, but it also works if the market goes up. For example, with the QQQ at 600, you got a buy signal short term on the market. Okay. Now, if you get a positive Genesis, it's going to run at least to 2 o'clock. So, what I'd like to do, just keep going, Jonathan, through the slides. I got some things or insights I'm going to give people. Buying SQQ, would I be buying? Here's a question for you, trader. Would I be buying SQQ right now? No. If I was in it, I'd get out. It's gonna go down. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody understands the concept. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Rob. Yes. Defense stocks and cruise stocks shall outperform in the current market. But today on this rally, we'll look at, when we go live, we'll look at a couple things. I'll show you. Right now, they're starting to go to the sidelines. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay. Keep your eye on crude, keep your eye on USO. They're telling you a story. Okay. Crude right now, just to give you an idea, it's back below the breakout number, 75.33. Would I be buying USO right now? No. All right. Let's keep going. I said, here's some stocks. I want to look at these when we go live. These are stocks that would go up in a defensive market, but we'd have to be making lows, not making highs. But I want you to put them in there, put it on your dashboard, okay? All right. That's, if crude stayed below 75, I'd probably come up some plays on that after 3 days. Just wanted to give you what I'd be looking at, okay? Now I said NVIDIA has major support at 174. If you go look at NVIDIA today, it's at 180. NVIDIA is outperforming the market. Keep your eye on NVIDIA. Does everybody remember the high yesterday on NVIDIA? Now, am I trading NVIDIA right now? No. Would I trade it after 3 days? Yes. But right now, Jonathan, what was yesterday's high on NVIDIA? You remember it was 84, 82, something like that?
I got yesterday's high on NVIDIA at 183.5.
Yeah. So it's got to get above 188. That's a breakout number on NVIDIA. I think I told somebody that on my newsletter. Special opportunity. Okay. 188. Got to get above that. All right. Perfect. If everybody got the newsletter, they read that. Okay. I said the S&P futures have major support at 66.50. What was our low today?
67.19.
So we didn't get down to major support on that sell-off. All right. But this is just day two, too. Okay. When the S&P falls 1.5% in such a short period of time, people tend to sell everything. Okay. Because can't stand the pain. Well, guess what? Now the S&P, if I look at it, it's still down 1.34% to put things in perspective. Keep that in mind. Now, what do you do if you get your hand in the cookie jar? You can take your hit, that's one choice, or you can give it 72 hours to play out. Because the market has moved up here at lunchtime, and in fact, we have a short-term buy signal on the QQQ, right? Give it a little bit more time to play out. Who knows? Maybe doing nothing is the best thing. That's some good advice right there. Get out, or you give it the 72 hours. All right. I think it's the best bet out there. Okay. I think that is something that that will happen this year. Okay. It's going to be the best bet. At the end of the day, do not lose sight of the big picture. This market will be higher by the end of the year, in my opinion. I'm saying that here in March with the market on its butt down. I think it'll play out in our favor by the end of the year. That's my opinion. I just don't like, I don't know, how many people agree with me? Why take pain and suffering if you can go to the sidelines and wait for the trend to reemerge? Think of it that way. Why go through all that emotional turmoil, okay? Why not just wait until the trend reemerges? That's my thoughts. Now, you can do the targeted plays, but I'm just saying, right now, no need to have your face peeled day in and day out trying to handle the volatility. Think about this. The market has risen about 0.75% off the low in the last couple hours. Gee, let you just flip a coin and caught it. You're lucky. All right, Johnson. We'll be live today at 3 o'clock in our 3 p.m. meeting. We also got live trading at 1:30. It's something I'll be doing today. Covered yesterday how to divide capital across 5 days, strategy. This is going to be an interesting subject today because there's trades because of these expiration dates that you can use to offset maybe a little hit here and there. I'll be talking about that today. Let me give you an example. Let's say hypothetically, or in reality, you're long silver because you think it's going to go higher. Okay, I'm long silver. I think it's going to go higher. But what could I do to offset the time it takes it to go higher? Anybody got any guess what you could do? Let's say if I had at least 20 something days out there, what could you do? What I could do, Bruce has got it, I can do a miniature calendar spread where time is going to dissipate, balancing that with my long delta to make some money while I'm waiting for it to go. That is a smart way to play this particular market. Does everybody understand what I'm saying there, or do I need to show you? Why don't we go to a live market? Let me show it, Jonathan. I think they can get something out of that.
You want the roadmap or an option chain?
An option chain.
Okay. What ticker?
Let's go, well, we talked about gold or silver. Let's talk SLV.
Okay. Bringing that up in just a moment here. Should be switching over for everybody. Yeah.
All right, go out, if you will, about 20 days and set up a 3 wide spread, 20 days out. Once you use the 83.86.
All right, the monthly March is 17 days out. An extra week would be 24 days out.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to use the 83.86
Yep.
as a credit spread?
No, this is a debit spread.
Okay. 83.86 right there, marked.
All right, what's my delta on that spread?
Delta about 6, rounded up.
Okay, delta 6, which means I'm going to lose money if it doesn't go up. Everybody give me a yes, they understand that. I'm going to lose money every day. I'm going to lose money. It's got a delta 6, right? Here's a strategy I'm going to teach later on today, but let's go inside that expiration and go to, let's see, you got an expiration as far as Friday this week. Go to Friday this week.
Friday this week, March 6th. Okay.
Okay. And what I'm looking for, the reason I'm picking March 6th, because that gives me, I can go find me some negative delta by doing a credit spread. So let's just go find something that's sort of out of the ballpark that we could get. Okay. What do you got there, Jonathan? That would be about a 5 delta, a 1 wide. Can you find one like that?
Wow. 1 wide, 5 delta. Well, let's see. 76.5, 77.5. Slightly out of the money. That's a -5 delta.
76, 77, 76 half, 77.5.
Yeah.
And SLV is at 74. Okay. Might be a little tight, but that's an offset. If silver was going down, you could use. But if silver is going up, it wouldn't be smart to do that, would it? Now, how would we tell what silver was doing? Well, we wait the end of the day and we'll look at the trend, and we'll probably take a 1 wide spread overnight and offset. Get within 24 hours. But we can pick right here, and that will pay us money. What's the credit on that one? 37 cents, right? On the one you got, that'd be 37 cents that turns into zero if silver doesn't make it to 76.5, right? Mark, does everybody see the strategy there? It's a little advanced, but I'm gonna do it because it's so smart to offset the Grim Reaper doing that. So I'll be doing that sometime later on today. Pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I like to sell premium too. Yeah, that's exactly, Carol. We'll talk about it later on today. No, because all we're capturing is delta. And everybody knows what delta is, right? Okay. I'm just going to take the delta and work it out and figure out the logical outcome. Now, let's take it one step further. Okay. Let's assume that we think maybe silver's going to have another down day, right? You with me? Walter, send Roe at DTI Trader. He'll take care of you, okay? Roe at DTI Trader. He'll take care of you. But let's assume, okay? Y'all want to learn something really fancy? Let's assume we're totally wrong, that silver comes blasting out tomorrow on that one-day option, right? Everybody got it? Jonathan? Let's say you had 10 contracts on, okay? So what you could do, okay, you could cut your short position and stay long for a minimum period of time during a reference Mar3rd, and then you would be long delta there, and you'd be in good shape. You actually make money. I make money on that on a spread like that today. I just wanted to share it with you because you've always, if you're thinking, especially with options, you always got ways to do things. But I want to take you through the whole process. Typically, you don't get into that, but hey, if you're totally wrong on saying it's going to go lower and they catch you overnight, the bullish Grim Reaper shows up and silver takes off. You can always do that. Okay? Pretty good way of doing things. Because you're really fighting for more after the first hour to judge your decision to do today. All right, I want to cover that, Jonathan. Let's go. I think this has been a great one. We stayed a little bit longer, not that much, but let's go, Jonathan, if we will, back to your slideshow. All these will be covered next in my 3 o'clock. And we'll look at the first 2 days, see if there's any opportunities there. And if you want to join us, not too late, go to 904-706-3532. Join me for Liz this afternoon. I think you would learn a lot that will help you during these times. Yesterday, we talked about entry and how to set things up. Today, we got to talk about the other side of entry, is how you exit. Remember, when you got 72 hours. All right, the one thing I did want to do, John, I want to go to a slide, if that's okay. Let's go to a slide. Let me give them some insights.
Okay.
No, Rob, not today. Not today. Insight number 1. Use the 72-hour rule to determine whether you're going to exit or make an adjustment. During the first 3 days of the month, use the midpoint from the high to the low as it develops. Find out by watching the market what goes up during this stage of the market and what goes down during this stage of the market. Have some tickers to watch. Use the dashboard of the roadmap to keep up with everything to help you with numbers. For example, SPY right now, or SPX right now, well, SPY is a little bit strong. Okay, we just finished Genesis, so it'd be developing out. Know your time frames during the day. If you can't remember the time frames, use 10, 12, and 2. When you go home at night, when you go or at the end of the trading day, ask yourself the following question. What is the worst outcome of my portfolio if I wake up tomorrow and have a sudden shock to the market? That's a great question to ask even in calm time. During this stage of the market, always have pocket puts on before you go home. I'll do that today. Regardless of what the numbers over here, I'll have that. It's worth the risk to pay that money and have it in your pocket. Folks, it's been great being with you. I want to give you those insights. And Jonathan, can you think of anything I forgot? Let's go back to the slideshow. Wendy, are you in live trading? Are you in my Liz? Are you in TNT? TNT. TNT, live trading will get pocket put. We'll monitor in TNT. Okay? All right, folks, let's go figure out how to make some money this afternoon. I hope this helps everybody. It's a tough market, but that's okay. If they took a little bit of your money, we'll charge an interest. We always do. Jonathan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. See you at 1:30 next.
I'll be here.
Now, we are going to replay a short video of Tom talking about this leverage income zone. That day 2 again is today at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to cue that up in just a few minutes, and once that's done, we'll close the room and see everybody for Training Trade tomorrow at 11. Thanks for being here this morning. Have a great rest of your day.